All right, so we are recording. I'm excited about this interview in particular because I had the opportunity to meet Tina. I always go the wrong way, but I'm going the right with Tina.
Yeah.
It's like the Brady Bunch. Where do I point?
Yeah.
Tina is from Mom Boss of Three.
Mhm.
We actually are on the YouTube parent panel together. I had the pleasure of meeting Tina. Gosh, when did we go to San Francisco? Was it in October?
October, yeah.
And we ended up sitting next to each other, like what happens, but you end up sitting next to each other at one of the cocktail hours at the end of the trip, and we just hit it off. We chatted for like over an hour. I got to know her story, and you probably recognize her if you are a YouTube watcher. You definitely recognize Tina, and I always do interviews with people, I always love it when they say to me, so tell me a little about yourself, because I'm not going to do you justice, because you do have, who you are and all the, where you live online. So tell everybody, like who you are, where you live online, and really how long you've been you've been a digital influencer. How long has it been now?
So it's just been over 3 years. So I started my channel on YouTube. So that was my first platform. I did have some other social platforms just for the sake of having a social platform. It wasn't related to vlogging at that time. So I started, my very first video went up, I think, January 2016. So it's just been over 3 years. And I live mostly on YouTube. So the big majority of my following and my work is on YouTube, with the second being Instagram. So I like to vlog my daily life with kids. Now, that being said, I say daily life, but I've quickly learned that I can only do 3 videos a week. And so it's not daily life, but I record my parenting journey with my kids, as well as some other like informational or opinion topics that people ask me for.
Now tell me this, what made you choose YouTube? Because there's a lot of people out there that want to get on social media in some realm, in some way. What made you go for video? Why was that for you an intriguing place to be?
So I have family that's in video. So my sister is a YouTuber, and she's been a YouTuber for many, many, many years. And I think that really gave me the confidence in YouTube, because I feel like it's easy to tell stories, but through video, and every person is different. Some people prefer blogging, and I did write a blog in the past, just for myself. It was private, and I did enjoy that, but there was just something about trying out that digital storytelling, right, and capturing those moments with my kids when they were really young that really encouraged me to stick with it.
And now when you started your channel, and I love that because all your videos, they start with, hi Marmy, right?
Yeah.
And so explain to everybody what the Marmy is, because I love that you do that. You bring in your fans every time.
Yeah, so that's my community. So called Marmy, which means Mom Army. And so my husband came up with that. And I was like, I love that, because I felt like one of the lessons I learned really quickly when I became a parent is that there will be a lot of people to judge you, but the moms kind of have to stick together. And if we're judging each other, we're not helping anything and making all of our lives harder. And so I really wanted to come up with a term that really worked, that we're sticking together and we're getting through it together, because parenting is the hardest job I've ever had.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And she has the 3 cutest little boys in the entire world. So if you haven't checked Tina out already, you got to obviously head over to, and I'll put all your links too when I post this video. But I'm interested. So you did and I have one of your fans behind me. So when you did the lights camera action for the first few videos, what made you stick with it? Because I know that a lot of people, the consistency can be tough. It's the consistency of keeping up with it. What made you keep going?
So I've done things a bunch of different ways. So I first had 5 videos a week. I then moved to like 1 or 2 videos a week. And now I'm kind of steady at 3 videos a week. And the consistency is hard for sure. What made me stick with it, I would say, is probably that I think I was making a difference. I was connecting with moms who really felt like they were learning from me or connecting with me or feeling like they had a friend in me, because parenting can be lonely, right? And so I felt like I was making a difference, and it really made me stick with it. And not only that, like I realized after about the first couple of months, I realized that, oh my God, I can go back to like January 2016 and see exactly what my kids were doing and how old they were and show them those videos. And it's just so rewarding.
Yeah, that's amazing. You have like this digital scrapbook.
Right.
For your children that you're keeping. Now, when did you start to see this? Because a lot of people, they don't, when we're talking about hustles and finding your passion, because that's kind of how we think they're synonymous, because you have to hustle when you're going after your passion. When did you start to see that this is a way that you could actually monetize? I know you said you had a sister that was involved on YouTube, so you probably were, business minded ahead of maybe somebody just starting out of the gate. But when did you really look at what you were doing and say, wow, this could potentially really earn me some money?
So I would say, so I don't think a single brand deal until after year one. So I went an entire year and I did no branded work. And so that was actually at the advice of my sister. So I think initially she had said to me, make sure you're doing what you love and you're making content that you love because I think when you're early on in sort of being a digital influencer, it's easier to sort of do things in too branded of a way. Like if that makes any sense, like it can just be so commercial because you're trying to appease the brand. And it takes a while for you to sort of figure out the message you want to share and what you stand for and how to tie that together with brands. And so I don't think it was till after the first year. And then I think it was in the second year, after a year and a half, I would say I joined a network. And so I'm part of a network. And so they handle all my brand deals for me. And I don't think it was until then that I realized that, okay, I have my own space. So my sister is younger than me. She doesn't have kids. She does a completely different type of video. And for me, just being a mom in the parenting space is like, it's a very limited category. There's actually not that many of us. And so it's an amazing place, especially on YouTube, to build a following and build a business.
That's what I was just going to ask you, because I know that, you have to, on YouTube, obviously, by kind of finding your niche is the best thing to do. Like, you don't want to do, and maybe, I'm wrong in saying this because you are in the YouTube world, but, by doing like a craft video one day and a food video one day, and, you never really have this consistency of content. How would you define your niche? Because that is very interesting, right? That parenting, family-friendly parenting content. Because a lot of the people that watch this are moms. So they figure out like where to go on YouTube. So what is your advice for that?
So here's the thing. If you have like a very specific niche type video content you're providing, the rules of the algorithm will tell you will grow faster on YouTube, right? Because you have a consistent type of video. That being said, I don't have a consistent type of video. So for the first while, I don't know how long, I only did family vlogs. And it wasn't until a while later I decided to do a little bit of skit comedy. And then from there, I started talking more about topics that my community was coming to me with. So like, for example, right now, for the month of February on my channel, I'm talking all about advice for people who are getting married. So I have a lot of people coming to me saying, I'm getting married. And, for us in the South Asian community, it's big to live with in-laws. It's big to sometimes not even talk about a whole lot of things you should talk about before you get married. So I think if you have like a really niche topic, you will grow. But at the same time, it's all about making content you love. If you don't love what you're doing, people know that and people see that. And the nice thing about YouTube, as opposed to traditional broadcast, is you can show your personality. You can show all the things you love. And people really, if they like you, they're going to watch you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, unless you're like a train wreck that people love to watch, if they don't like you, they're not going to watch you.
They're like, that. This person makes me feel better. She's a train wreck.
Exactly.
Yes. No, I love that. Now, and just in terms of, because I love what you just said about, really doing what you love to do, creating the videos that you really want to create. And you did a great video on mom shaming that I just watched recently. And I love that you cover all these different topics. So tell me this, when you are looking at even March 2019 or April, do you have an editorial calendar like 2 or 3 months out?
So I don't have a 2 or 3. I just recently started doing this, so I didn't ever before. But now I will have something at least 4 or 6 weeks out. And I put it in with flexibility. Like, for example, the video is supposed to come out tomorrow. I haven't recorded yet, but I'm like, I'm going to do that today. We're going to get it done. And, that's one of the things when you're a parent. And in my case, my youngest is not in school. He goes to preschool like 2 hours, like a few times a week. And so that's the time that I use.
Right.
So I think that if you are a parent and you don't have that chunk of time to always do work, you have to be flexible with your editorial calendar because it's not always going to work out.
Right, absolutely. And so like you said, your readers, when they're asking you questions, is that some advice that you would give somebody? If someone's asking you, like, to engage obviously is really important. But I love that you said, people are asking, about this. And so I started kind of creating content for them. Is that advice that you would give somebody?
I definitely would. I mean, as long as it's something you want to tackle and you're interested in, I find a lot of that comes to me through Instagram, right?
Okay.
So people will come to me or send me a DM on Instagram, say, I watched this video. I would really love it if you talked about this, or I would really love it if you could shed some light on this. And sometimes it's people who, here's the thing. If you're a parent and you're doing parenting content, there's going to be a lot of people who are not parents who watch your content because they are looking for inspiration and trying to see what their life with as a parent might look like.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
And so they ask for advice. And so I think everyone has different types of audiences, right? So I've got an audience of moms. I've got an audience of people who are looking to get married and start a family. I've got an audience of people who maybe just had the first baby. Some people who are, the kids are out of the nest, you know what I mean? So it's making content that kind of serves those groups of people.
I love that. And then, so do you dive into your analytics and check out like your demographic, the age? I mean, for some reason, I always thought that YouTube skewed super young. And then, one time after we went to the YouTube offices, I remember them saying, well, let us walk you through the analytics. And I was surprised to see that it was much older than I thought. I mean, I'm not talking like in the 70s, but women between like 18 to 24.
Yeah.
Does that help you to create content?
So here's the thing, when you're creating content for that age group, so I think, I can't remember the statistic now, but I think women over 30, it was like the smallest group of women on YouTube. And it's slowly growing, right? And people are using YouTube as a search engine, right? So for example, if I'm like, I do some cooking stuff, not fancy cooking stuff, but like real mom, basic cooking stuff.
So you're my girl. You're my kind of girl.
Exactly, right? So they sometimes people come to me like, oh, learn about chia pudding, how to make chia pudding. They might find a video on my channel, and from there they might say, oh, I like this person, I want to see more of their stuff, or hey, I know how to make chia pudding, now I'm done, right? So people are using it as a search engine. So it's just, that's another thing about varying your content, is making it really searchable material. So some of that kind of sprinkled in throughout your channel so people can find you.
That's great advice. And now, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to ask you this. So, because I'm sure you get asked this all the time. Someone right out of the gate, they want to start a YouTube channel, or, they have a YouTube channel and they just have never massaged it. They've never given it any love. What are, just some top tips that you could give somebody, just a takeaway that someone could leave this video and go, okay, so Tina suggested this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to see how it works out.
Okay. So assuming you haven't done any kind of research on the matter, you just kind of have a channel that you've started. What I would say is there is something called the YouTube creator something, I forget what it's called, YouTube creator series. Right? Yeah, YouTube creator series. Okay. And you can, from there, you'll learn all about analytics, you'll learn about titles, tags, you'll learn everything. So YouTube puts out this, so it's Creator Academy, YouTube Creator Academy.
Okay.
You go and learn all the basics of YouTube. My top tips, aside from watching that, is pick your days and stick with them. So if you are uploading 2 videos a week, and it's on Monday and Thursday, stick with Monday and Thursday. It's just something about the algorithm that favors that regularity in your posting, right? So stick with your days. I would say don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't start it with 5 videos. I made that mistake. Start it with 5 videos if you don't know that you can handle it.
Okay.
And also like I said, research your titles and your tags. That's another thing. People don't spend a lot of time on their titles, and me included, on your titles, video description. That is all searchable material. So you can put a ton of stuff in your video description that will help you be more discoverable on YouTube. And do not neglect your thumbnails.
Okay. Oh yeah. Thumbnails are a big deal, right?
Yeah. And set up social channels, like set up Twitter and Instagram and everything else so you can cross promote your content.
Now, are you a part of, or do you recommend, there's a ton of like YouTube groups on Facebook or Instagram where people are going in and, and it's like the age old thing, right? I mean, I started blogging 12 years ago, and I remember like having a Skype group where we would all be like, oh, here's new content. Love some love to it. Is it like that in the YouTube world? Do you find it like that?
No, not as much. So there are YouTube groups like on Facebook and stuff like that. There's one called We Love YouTube Moms and stuff like that. It's got, I think that's like an invite only, whatever. I haven't spent much time in those groups, to be honest. I feel like I have a group of people here that are also YouTube moms that are part of my network. And so I've met them over time. And so if I need to bounce ideas off them, I have that support. And that's another thing. If you've really kind of gotten a groove with your content and I've really had great success teaming with a network, and not everyone has that experience, but I feel like it's been a really great addition to my team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, again, if you haven't, head over to check out Tina's either, YouTube, Instagram. I love, obviously, your YouTube channel. I had heard of you before YouTube. And then when I met you, you know, there's just something about being able to meet somebody and then really kind of be part of their lives. And Tina does an exceptional job at just giving enough where you really feel like you get to know your family. I love that you share so much. You know, your love story with your husband was, you just say you have a great family. And I love that, you know, I feel like, and there's reasons why you connect with people online. And I think that you're so real and you're so you, and, you know, you really let people in. And I love that about you. You have a gift for letting people in. So, you know, thank you for all the content that you create. It's awesome.
Well, thank you. My number one goal in creating content is to be as real as possible, because there's a whole lot of not real on social media, unfortunately. So I that's my number one goal, is to be as real as possible and reflective of real life.
I love that. Well, guys, make sure you go check her out. Tina, thank you so much again for taking the time and chatting. I think that you are one amazing hustling mom out there. Again, Mom Boss of 3 on Instagram, obviously, too. She does little videos as well. And you're on Twitter at that handle as well, too, right?
Everywhere is Mom Boss of 3. Yep.
Awesome. Well, we will put all the links below. Thank you so much, Tina. We love you.
Thank you.
And go check her out if you haven't yet. Bye, guys.